So 2025 has finally arrived. And still no Silk Song. No, but in all seriousness, how you guys doing, bro? Missed y'all. I haven't seen y'all since like last year. Isn't that crazy? My bad, that was low-hanging fruit. Bro, this year is about to be absolutely insane for indie games. And I'm not talking about just releases, right? Even demos or public betas, I'm hyped for it all. Now, before we dig in all the way, let's cover our bases a little bit. The average canon viewer probably already knows about some of the ones that I'm gonna mention, but just in case we got some new faces here, let me put you on to peek real quick. And I'm gonna start it off with two that are very decently far into development as of right now to fill the quick void of Silk Song, because I'm not gonna lie, I don't have much to say about Silk Song. We've been waiting for like 3 years. Allow me to introduce you to Crowsworn. This game has the DNA of Bloodborne, Hollow Knight, Devil May Cry. It just goes down the list, man. You want to see the trickster air dash from DMC? We got it, bro. You want to see the gunslinger rainstorm from DMC? Of course we got it, bro. And any nifty appendages from corpses that you may discover, right? You could of course augment into your body to give yourself some crazy abilities. This move set is expansive and the movement in the game is actually really cool. And naturally, the game has pogoing from Hollow Knight, but like, you kind of expected it. I don't even know why I mentioned that. I just wanted to say that low-key. Oh yeah, and by the way, this game and all other games mentioned in this video will have their Steam pages if available, linked in the description. If the Steam page isn't available, I'll probably link it to the developer's Twitter or just the game's Twitter. You know, common courtesy, all that nice stuff. But yeah, that was Crowsworn, and moving on, we're gonna talk about the big catch. And I'm really glad I can swing back around and talk about this game because I never got to talk about the tackle box demo in depth that they released. And I'm gonna take this time to completely sell you on this game all over again. First things first, before we get into anything, bro, I wanna talk about this level design. I love the verticality of this level design. It reminds me of Ocarina of Time a lot. Matter of fact, nah. Scratch that. It reminds me of Majora's Mask, specifically Stone Tower Temple, but it's like they took that verticality of that layout and the complexity of it, then put a very huge focus on it, and then popped it straight into a movement game. And it's just beautiful. Like, bro, forget the objective. Just getting from point A to point B in the most efficient way possible was beyond fun. And I love how they integrated that into the gameplay because of the way that you have to chase the fish around the tower depending on which fish it is to catch it. And that segues me into the movement system, because when I initially watched the reveal trailer for it, that was one of the biggest things that stood out. The movement in this game looked amazing in the trailer, and I wanted to try it for myself so bad. And I finally got the chance to. So my honest, complete, and total opinion on the movement, it's peak, bro. Like, no exaggeration. It might be my favorite movement system in any platformer that I've ever played. And this demo came out June 7th of last year, bro. I am confidently saying this. I am well past the honeymoon phase with this game. I genuinely think this has my favorite movement system of any platform. I'm not gonna say it's the best or anything because, you know, we all have our own opinions and tastes. I'm just saying it's my favorite. Biggest thing about this movement system is that it feels so rewarding to pull off really cool stuff. And it's not very complex to pull off crazy cool stuff, but there's also a difficulty curve like to it, and it's not artificial difficulty. It was also very refreshing to see squash and stretch animation be so prevalent in this game. Presentation wise, this game is just like, probably it's a good 8 or 9 for me personally. There's a bunch of filters you can mess with in the settings as well to get that vintage type of feel, like that CRCT type of feel. So overall, bro, they kind of just hit every single mark, and they give you a bunch of stuff to do, which is pretty cool because this is only a demo after all, which only gets me more hype for when the full game does drop. So go try it for yourself, bro. The Big Catch Tackle Box. You can pause the video and go download it right now. I don't care. Next game needs no introduction, bro. Rollin' Rascal. This demo is pretty much like, at this point, it's nearly a full game. If you're familiar with the fan game Sonic GT, it's made by the developers of that, and you can tell because this level design is top tier. It beats all the Sonic fan game allegations. They take a concept as simple as a spin dash and make it a core mechanic to the point where nearly the entire movement system relies on it and flips it on top of its entire head to the point where you can't tell that it's a spin dash anymore. The environments are super vibrant part, the levels are very expansive. Like in normal modern Sonic fashion, or I guess SA2 for that matter, there's usually 3 lanes that you can take with alternative paths, right? There's usually the top path, maybe. There's the main path, of course, and maybe depending on the level you're at, right, there'd be a bottom path, or there'd be a path that veers to the left or the right. It just depends. Maybe there's a spring that takes you to a certain place. You get the point, right? Well, in Rollin' Rascal, there's like 6 alt paths, bro. And you can make your own alt paths to an extent just by utilizing the system, so the possibilities are kind of just endless. And it's not in a way where like it's like some sandbox put into an engine. It's very, very, very intentional, so you won't get any jankiness that comes with that type of freedom. Also, along with some base game stages, there's a mode that allows you to race against your friends in a multiplayer setting, and there's a bunch of stages, and dog, this is like the Fortnite Battle Royale to save the world type of like relationship with the game. Of course, you got the main thing that you can purchase when it eventually comes out fully, but this free multiplayer mode it could be a game on its own, I'm not gonna lie. But I'm not gonna yap about it too much, still gotta get through the recap. So yeah, Rollin' Rascal demo, go peep it, bro. All right, for the last game on this little recap section, I want to talk about Combo Devils a little bit more. This game is like if the most based person you know cloned themselves 30 times, and then those 30 versions of themselves made a dev team, and then they developed the platform fighter. If Skullgirls is the ultimate love letter to traditional fighters, I feel like that is exactly what this is to platform fighters. But I guess you actually won't get called a gooner for playing this one. I love Skullgirls, it's like my favorite fighting game of all time. But when I tell you I cannot play that in front of anyone. Combo Devils has mechanics upon mechanics, and they're all so heavily stylized in their presentation, and they're all so heavily polished and well thought out. Like, bro, when I saw the first set of Watch the Throne matches between Korshmel and Thunder's Reign, my mind was already blown by how like well designed this game already appeared. It already looked so full and polished, and to think that was a year ago already, bro, time flies like crazy. But to see it on a more recent build, and the fact that they expanded upon that, it just blows my mind a little bit, because how do you make this better than what it already was? You got your pretty standard stuff for a platform fighter with, you know, the DNA of Smash Bros. You got your wave dashes, your moonwalks, you know. As far as neutral goes, you have your basic stuff. You can put people into a tech chase situation, you know, all the good stuff, jab blocking. You got all of it pretty much. Is what I would say if this game wasn't Combo Devils. This game is very combo oriented, but not in a way like Rushdown Revolt. You can tell this game was made by Project M players in the best way possible. And the coolest part by far is the fact that it takes a lot of influence and mechanics from traditional fighters. The game has high-low blocking, parries, meter, EX moves, and supers. They even have an interesting take on the way they handle percentages and KOing. Usually in a plat fighter, your more traditional way of KOing an opponent is getting them to a high percent and then just launching them off stage. Of course, you can edge guard them, spike them, gimp them, ledge trap them, you know, all the usual stuff you'd see. But an optional mode in Smash is the stamina mode, where depending on how high of a percent that you get them, they just end up straight up exploding, combusting, like it was a normal health bar in a traditional fighting game. Well, Combo Devils takes both of these mechanics and blends them into one, right? And you can end up, you know, knocking an opponent off stage, or just edge guarding them, you know, the usual stuff, or you can impact KO them. And this is partially due to just how much of a presence off stage fighting has in this game, because it's pretty easy to recover. And I think it's pretty cool that they actually dived a little bit deeper with that, you know, aspect of plat fighters. But yeah, Combo Devils is really, really special. But that just about wraps up the recap. Now, there are a handful more that I probably could have talked about, but I want to wait for those to get a little bit more news before I swing back around to those. For now, let's talk about Demon Tide. Demon Tide is an open world 3D platformer, and bruh, it's really, really good. It's a follow-up game to their other title, Demon Turf, which is also pretty good. You should check that out as well. I mean, just from the little bit of gameplay that we did get to see from this trailer regarding the different movement mechanics that are going to be in this game, there's going to be so many different ones pulled from so many different games compacted into the Demon Tide style, because this isn't like a spiritual successor to anything. So they're fully taking different concepts and just interpreting them in their own way, which is pretty cool. Also, the map is absolutely like gigantic. It's not like an overstatement or anything or hyperbole. It's actually massive, and the fast travel in this game is pretty good. It's pretty much instant, I'm not gonna lie. And if you head to the Twitter, there's like so many different clips of gameplay from this game. There's so many different movement options. The level design is really cool. Like, bro, I'm not gonna lie, go to the Twitter and see for yourself. I might put a few clips on the screen right now, but like, bro, you gotta see the Twitter. Also, bro, go peep Demon Turf. Like, the game's like art style for like the main characters' animations, it's like this 2D type of thing, but it's like in a 3D plane. It's really cool. It's hand drawn like Skullgirls. Next up, we got Might Treya or Might Raya. I don't really know how to pronounce it, but the game is super cool. I guess the way I'd explain this is Wonderful 101 if it was like an actual character action game. It feels like you're Genos from One Punch Man, but you're just going around and destroying a bunch of monsters taking over the city. The combat from this one looks really promising. One thing that I like particularly about this game is the way everything looks so impactful when you like land heavy hits. And the timing for certain perfect smashes actually reminds me of Astral Chain a lot. And you know we love Astral Chain around here, bro. Switch 2, please save me. And as you can guess, there's a lot of different abilities that weren't actually in the trailer that we do know about. There's this one little like pull ability that allows you to extend combos by pulling enemies back to you after you knock them away. You have telekinesis, so you can throw objects like debris from battles at enemies. It's pretty cool. And some of the Phantom Blade moves take a lot of inspiration from DMC's Virgil. So I'll definitely be looking forward to any new developments on this game, and I think you should be on the lookout too, bro. Next up, we got Nightmare Operator, and I'll be honest, bro, this game plays like how people think Signalis plays like. No shade to Signalis though. Game is good, but you know, I gotta be honest. All that aside though, this is the Resident Evil inspired game to end all Resident Evil inspired games. I was never a person super big on RE, Silent Hill type of games, but dog, this game thoroughly impressed me. I know you're looking at the presentation on the screen, and I know it looks amazing, right? It looks beautiful. The character designs, the enemy designs, they're really good. Bro, can I talk about this enemy AI real quick? There's this one scene in the trailer where the enemy spots you, and then it like ducks off behind the bookshelves to go into hiding a little bit, and then later on you see a clip of them just popping out right in front of you. That is crazy. That is how you build suspense and tension in an action horror type of game, because it's an action game, so you know you can fight back, you can parry the enemies and stuff. Also really cool that there's a parry in this game. It looks super flashy too, but like, you know, that kind of takes away from the scary type of aspect of the game. That right there, enemy AI and behavior and even design, that is how you bring that element right back in. Also, the art style and overall art direction from the game, absolute masterclass. I really like the glitchy effect they go for as well. Kind of reminds me of like, I wouldn't necessarily say analog horror, but I guess Mandela Catalog does do that sometimes. But yeah, I guess it in a way does remind me of analog horror, but more or less just that specific element, not really it overall. I guess more or less this folklore type of feel, but I get that a lot with like Japanese horror. I'm really bad at explaining scary stuff because I don't watch anything scary anymore. With that said, I will 100% be playing this game. Also, these environments look amazing. The enemy like design overall, dog, it varies so much. Like you go from like zombie spider skeleton spinal cord monster thing to a robotic like head with a minigun to these like crazy nurses to this schoolgirl to like it's so much to an undead samurai, and it all fits perfectly. And it's all pretty scary, except for the samurai. The samurai just looks cool. I'm not even gonna lie. The more I think about it, the more like it's reminding me of how much I like those eerie elements from Sekiro, bro. 100 and screw 100, 1000% canon platinum seal of approval. Like Nightmare Operator. When it drops, we will be there. All right, I gave you the Resident Evil leaning game out of the two. How about I give you the Silent Hill leaning game with 45 Parabellum Bloodhound? But I guess it's only Silent Hill-esque in the camera angles. It's really more like a Parasite Eve type of game. And this game really highlights one key detail and why I like presentations in certain games so much. There's a difference between building your tone around the game and building your game around the tone. I only wish that we got to see more from from this trailer because the artistry that it just presented was amazing. Also, the gameplay looks really fun. One thing I'm very interested in though is the fact that this game calls itself an active time action game, and I'm not sure if they like mean that in the sense of active time battle or if it's a variation of active time battle. Likely has to do with the fact that you still have freedom of movement, but you're also setting up your next attack. Overall, I'm just gonna wait and see what they do with the system. Okay, now it's time to show more games. Now, at first, I wasn't gonna add too many games that I did in previous videos, but I was like, bro, who cares? I might as well double it up and just compact them all into one. So I guess you could like consider this the rapid fire round. First off, you got Rivals of Aether 2. Now, this is a top 3 platform fighter in my opinion, but I still hate fighting Clarion. Next up, we got Nine Souls. Really cool Metroidvania. It takes a lot of inspiration from Sekiro as well. Cool combat system, very beautiful visuals, and a great story. Next up, we got Alabaster Dawn from the same devs that brought you Crosscode. This game seems like it's going to live up to the same level as Crosscode as one of the most impactful Metroidvanias of all time. We just gotta wait until it comes out because like this wait has been agonizing, I'm not gonna lie. And that brings us to VA Proxy. Really cool action RPG hack and slash game. You can parry like everything in this. The combat is amazing, the visuals are amazing, and I'm not gonna lie, the story is actually really interesting, and I believe it drops this year, so we will be seated. Next up, we got Balatro. This game absolutely needs no introduction. It's one of the most addictive games of all time. Actually, it's so addictive, I don't even know why I'm recommending it because I'm probably ruining your life right now. Next up, we got Pseudo Regalia, one of the goats that started it all with this channel. For me personally, bro, I could go on and on for hours about this game. The ambience, the subtle storytelling within the backgrounds, how good the movement is, the art style, how it's translated, but I'll just say play the game for yourself, man. Also, she's thick as hell. Anyways, while we're at it, also play Web Fishing, one of the chillest games ever made. It's really a stress reliever, if I'm being honest, bro. And while that game may be a stress reliever, Buckshot Roulette is a stress enhancer, and it also puts stress on a lot of my friendships. Who knew Russian roulette could be so much fun? Next, we got Hyperlight Breaker from the same team that brought you Hyperlight Drifter. Heart Machine is goated, bro. I still want a Hyperlight Drifter sequel, but in due time, we shall be rewarded as patient fans. And it's very funny because as of recording this right now, Hyperlight Breaker unlocks for early access in less than an hour. And speaking of early access games, next up we got Rooftops and Alleys, made by a very passionate developer. This parkour sandbox provides hours of— I sound like I'm reading off of a script. Screw all of that, you can play as a bird, go buy the game. Next up we have Jamphibian, really cool character action game with rhythmic elements. It's currently ongoing development right now, but you can check for updates on the Jamphibian Twitter or the developer's Twitter. And that leads us into Aninra. Aninra is really cool. It's like if the head director for DMC like worked on Metal Gear Rising but gave it crazy God of War executions. And oh my god, that is a lot of games, aka a lot of links that I have to end up fitting into the description later, and I wouldn't want to have it any other way. So why not fill the description up with even more links? Because that brings us to the next section of the video, my personal favorite section of the video, the part of the video where I put you on to some new songs, bands, or artists in general that you may have not heard of to spice up your palette a little bit or give you a break from listening to the same old stuff over and over again. You see that I'm developing my YouTuber voice and my YouTuber lung capacity. Can you tell that this video is unscripted? I hope not. That's how goated I'm getting. Okay, let me shut up, bro. I don't want to make this section too long so I don't drag out this video too much, so we're just gonna give you 2 really good recommendations. First off, we got Condor 44. Now, you've probably seen this in your YouTube recommendation lately because YouTube did that one thing where they want to choose one video and just put it in everyone's algorithm like a decade later. You probably heard DB by them. Now, Condor 44 is actually very special. They get so creative and experimental with how they take different genres and string them together to the point where I don't think I can necessarily just categorize them as heavy math rock just because of how they sequence their songs and how they pace their drops as well. You can tell that it's most definitely indie rock, especially by the vocals, but it's such a cool interpretation of that. It's very unique. Like, bro, I just think it's the coolest thing ever when you just hear the strings being played on a heavy electric guitar and you just hear angelic vocals in the background. Like, by far, that is always the coolest thing ever for me when I'm listening to any type of rock. It's the reason why Tricod I don't know why I keep pronouncing it like that. It's the reason why Trico is my favorite band of all time. And I feel like one of the coolest things about Condor 44 on DB specifically is the fact that the song starts off super heavy. Even the drop is very heavy, and it leads back into this mellow sound, and you expect that to be the bridge into the verse, but no, that's kind of the sound that they opt for the rest of the song as they subtly build back up into that heavy noise for the remainder. And it's actually pretty cool to see that, because especially for longer songs, usually it's more of a sequence type of progression of the song, if that makes any sense. It's like they opt of more like presenting a feeling rather than just making a song to make a song, which is why, based off of this random recommendation from the YouTube algorithm gods, this band has just made its way into a lot of people's hearts, and mine too, bro. You already know, we love music around here. Next up, we got Otica. Well, they go by multiple different names: Otica, Jades, Worm. Not that Jades, not that Jades. This Jades is actually pretty peak, I'm not gonna lie. On his Otica account, he makes different types of rock music. It's like depending on what account you're on, that's like the genre pool you'll be in. And it's actually really impressive that he managed to maintain motion on all of these different accounts individually. It's like they all have their different fan bases. One song will just be some crazy, hard, heavy shoegaze. The next song will be something like indie rock, and then the other one would be some ambient grunge, and then you'll just all of a sudden hear like some Eric Doa type of hyperpop or some Eric Doa just type of rap. It's pretty cool. It's like you're opening loot boxes, but you're not getting mid. For a song recommendation, I guess I'd recommend Skin to start with. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's the most popular song on the Otica account. It's a very heavy shoegaze song, and it eases you into more of Jades' music. Very unfortunate that he so happens to share a name with the other Jades. Very, very unfortunate. And it's also very unfortunate that our time together has come to a crisp close, but I think this was a pretty long video, all things considered, and a very, very fun one. I hope you managed to see something from this video that you liked. You know, hopefully in the pool of games, at least one thing caught your attention. But before you leave, can I offer you this? Joining the official Cannon Court Discord server. As always, we have crab legs. It's pretty chill in there, bro. You already know. You get exclusive canon details, aka absolutely nothing, because I'm pretty boring. Who knows? Maybe we could hop on Skullgirls or something. I never duck the fade. The only thing that I do duck is doing outros, because to this day I still don't really know how to end a video.
Up in here with my tool, they gon' find you in the ditch, yeah. Straight for high rule, you not from it, you a glitch, yeah. Man of my rules, running with the misfits, yeah. Do not misclick, that's gon' get you hit quick, yeah. Death on death, it's God, ain't no variation, it's Lord X Lord. I keep a paradise, so I X out of Claude. And my name Lucy, when I talk, you know.